A regular student named Jinwoo suddenly gets summoned to a mysterious fantasy realm called Arsalan. After fighting incredibly hard to survive, the young man rises to become a legendary transcendent archmage. Despite his insane level of magic, the entire world is facing absolute destruction from a dark force. The hero decides to recruit a massive army of Earthlings by using a clever plan from his past career. A large group of people soon arrives and begins exploring the beautiful landscape of this dangerous world. A giant warrior loves the scenic view, but his mood is quickly ruined by some terrible-smelling fruit wine. Another teammate gets deeply inspired to write songs while his companion begs him to stop his weird music. The main character reveals his master plan of tricking the human survivors into believing this dangerous world is just a game. By putting on virtual reality gear, they think the incredible scenery is just a cool quest to defeat the ultimate boss. As the blonde guide tells everyone to prepare a dark portal, suddenly tears open the sky right in front of the group. A massive army of ugly purple goblins emerges from the darkness while screeching and charging directly toward the humans. Instead of running away, the excited players smile and start talking about cooking the enemies for a delicious dinner. The young leader raises his weapon to signal the start of the battle, while the rest of the squad prepares to fight. With great energy, the brave warriors charge forward into the battlefield to protect their new home. Giant servers start glowing with power to load the new virtual reality fantasy game for the human players. Light beams shoot down as the excited warriors charge directly into battle against the monsters. Looking at the chaos, the legendary Archmage Kim Jinwoo lets out a deep sigh. Dark corruption known as the erosion of ruin is slowly eating away at the entire planet. Over 90% of the world is already gone, and only a few kingdoms survive behind a magic shield. The magical crystals are running out of power, meaning they only have 3 years before everything gets devoured. Walking through the forest, the young hero smiles because his legendary titles are completely useless in a dying world. The beautiful high elf disciple named Darius immediately starts nagging the young master about going into the dangerous zone. She points out that normal residents of this world will have their souls devoured if they stay inside the erosion too long. Since the hero is an otherworlder, his soul is immune, so he wishes he had an army of 100,000 men to help him. Rather than attending the emergency meeting of the kingdom, the tired boy tells his assistant to send another refusal letter. The girl jokingly threatens to resurrect him in the body of a cute girl next time, if he goes out and gets himself killed. Thinking back to his exhausting past life on Earth, he realizes that he has never had a single day of proper rest. Looking at the giant barrier that will break in 3 years, the young man sighs because he simply wants to quit and sleep. Suddenly, a brilliant light descends from the sky and begins to shine directly onto his body. A massive beam of blue magic suddenly explodes around the young hero as an unbelievable power surges through his body. He immediately realizes that his soul has awakened to the level of a transcendent after decades of trying. Testing his new power, the young wizard reaches out a hand to summon a massive dark portal swirling with energy. A system notification reveals that this special doorway is a gate of souls which can stay open permanently. Without wasting any time, he decides to dive right into the portal as a bright light suddenly flashes. The swirling gateway opens high above a bustling modern city on Earth while his glowing soul looks down at the streets. Seeing the tall tower and modern phones makes him wonder if he somehow traveled backward in time after 100 years. Looking down at the modern streets, the young man realizes that his former home has been replaced by unfamiliar buildings. Since staying in soul form too long will make him fade away, he decides to search for a newly vacant body to possess. Flying quickly across the city, the wizard suddenly senses a very strange source of energy coming from a nearby mansion. Curious about this unique power, he immediately decides to slip inside the window of the luxury home to investigate. Inside the bedroom, he finds a young patient lying on a hospital bed, while the heart monitor makes a flatline sound. The doctors can do nothing more while the crying grandfather mourns his grandson, who also shares the name Jinwoo. Looking closely at the quiet patient, the legendary Archmage senses a mysterious energy still lingering inside the room. He realizes the patient is Lee Jinwoo, a wealthy genius who is basically dead because his soul is already gone. The supreme wizard decides to possess the empty body and starts healing it with his immense magic powers. His soul fuses with the physical form in a massive flash of blue energy before the young man slowly opens his eyes. Sitting up in bed, the hero realizes the process worked perfectly while the grandfather stares in absolute shock. Suddenly, the crying grandfather throws his arms around the boy, while the rest of the family celebrates this miracle. Everyone crowds around him with emotional questions, leaving the newly revived student completely overwhelmed. Resting on a giant bed later, the tired protagonist sighs because his new family is incredibly loud and dramatic. Stretched out on the bed, the boy realizes that living a rich life with a healing body is actually pretty nice. Even so, he cannot stop thinking about how the erosion cores will endlessly spawn monsters to destroy his other world. To clear his busy head, the young man grabs a classic gaming console and turns it on to distract himself. The screen lights up with an old game about summoning powerful allies to save the world from total destruction. This makes him wish that hundreds of thousands of active heroes would suddenly appear to help save his dying realm. A sudden notification on the screen startles him so much that he drops the device directly onto the floor. An amazing idea strikes him to bring people from Earth through his magic portal by pretending everything is just a game. With his past skills as a developer and his magic powers, he feels confident about saving the world in 3 years. During a family dinner, the grandfather warmly tells him to eat well and asks if there is anything he wants to do. The old man instantly drops his fork in fear, thinking the boy wants to go back to studying, which almost killed him. Instead of studying, the young man happily reveals that his actual goal is to start developing a brand new video game. The grandfather is so relieved by this normal hobby that he immediately gives a big thumbs up with tears of joy. The rest of the relatives cheer and celebrate because the teenager is finally acting like a normal kid of his age. The elder asks if they own a studio and learns about a completely ruined subsidiary company called FS Games. The boy happily receives the entire company as a gift, which is perfect for launching his secret project. After thanking his grandfather, the young man happily promises to do an amazing job with the game company. Returning to the magic tower, he finds himself back inside his original handsome wizard body. A clever auto-execution magic is placed on his earth body so it continues to function normally. With his dual bodies ready, the wizard decides to start planning the lore for his upcoming game. Entering the quiet library, he accidentally scares the high elf storyteller named Tia, who is busy writing books. The kind writer explains that she is crafting stories to give people a peaceful mental escape from the harsh reality. The main character sits down and presents a hypothetical scenario about strangers who only want to have fun. The elf suggests that these fun-loving outsiders will first need a strong sense of belonging to work hard. Tia suggests a dramatic story where a beautiful elf is tragically killed right in front of her warrior lover. She begins writing furiously while explaining how this deep sorrow will motivate the players to seek ultimate revenge. The young master realizes that emotional attachment is indeed the best way to make the human players fight on their own. After she expresses her weird desire to see people cry, the wizard politely interrupts her intense typing session. He invites her to join his big project by mentioning that millions of people on Earth will read her amazing stories. The storyteller gets so excited about having countless fans that she immediately begs him to let her do everything. To get back to business, the boy starts explaining his plan for a beta test involving 3,000 players. The wizard works with the elf to create a cool backstory and chooses a starting village to serve as the game tutorial. The girl gets way too excited about writing a tragic plot while he focuses on submitting the game proposal very soon. He realizes that a simple story won't convince his new employees, so he decides to introduce realistic virtual technology. Since the magic portal is limited to one person, the teenager plans to film a fake game trailer using some local actors. Using a telepathic link, the boy contacts his loyal gardener Hasman and tells him to gather a few more special allies. A bright magic portal flashes at the massive Rainsford castle as the young master arrives to meet his waiting helpers. The loyal followers show some incredibly intense faces, which quickly makes the protagonist feel a little bit uncomfortable. The brave knight commander Haina steps forward to help, but Jinwoo realizes his other two allies look too villainous. Seeking a solution, the wizard asks his loyal helper about dark magic before handing over a set of suspicious dark robes. The men are forced to put on the outfits and transform into creepy sorcerers while crying about this absolute sacrilege. Next, the master turns his attention to Hina, who is currently wearing some extremely thick and heavy metal armor. The leader pulls out a classic set of colorful gamer gear and commands her to wear it for the absolute safety of the realm. Metal footsteps echo as the brave woman steps out in a stylish and highly energetic outfit that leaves him quite amazed. The boy explains that having less armor actually gives a higher defense on Earth, which leaves the poor warrior very confused. The boy feels his main setup is almost complete, but decides that Haina needs to protect a delicate saintess. He considers calling a saintess named Tebessa, but quickly changes his mind because she is over 200 years old. Suddenly, some children run by while a winged girl frantically chases them right into the main hall. The tired succubus named Eri immediately bows to apologize, which gives the young master a brilliant idea. He points directly at her to play the role of the holy saintess despite her protests about being a demon. With his perfect cast finally assembled, the enthusiastic developer prepares to start filming the promotional video. Back at the tower, his beautiful elf disciple arrives with 130 followers, but she looks very worried. Confused by the weird outfits, the crew asks what is going on, and the young leader explains it is just a simple roleplay. Standing before the gathered crowd, he announces his recent awakening and his new power to connect with a different world. The wizard plans to summon corruption-immune heroes from Earth and tells his helpers to pause their normal duties. Handing over a recording crystal, the boss shows them a battle video and asks them to make the scene look way cooler. The mages panic when the young master orders them to compress this massive editing project into a tiny mana crystal. The developer is confident they will succeed because magic should make any impossible task a total breeze. Looking at their blue outfits, he realizes they resemble popular toy cats from Earth and instantly names them his new helpers. He cheerfully tells the crying mages that their only job is to grant his wishes so they can finally save the realm. The young man steps out of his luxury car in Seoul to finally visit the game studio he just acquired. Thanks to his cute magical helpers, he managed to finish the entire game trailer in a very short time. A giant secretary named Kim Hansu greets him warmly and shakes his hand to show deep respect. The muscular secretary explains that all the employees are already waiting for their new boss upstairs. Inside the meeting room, the developer named Han Yongseon reads a sad article about their company going broke. The man wonders why a super genius with 5 degrees would ever want to buy a ruined business like theirs. The door suddenly flies open and the young president walks inside with a massive amount of confidence. The old manager is completely stunned by the incredible pressure coming from the young boss who wants to start the meeting. The protagonist calmly points out their massive 30 billion won failure and how the entire team ran away to another company. Instead of getting angry, the boy smiles because a total failure is the perfect chance to start fresh with a clean slate. The giant secretary hands out some documents containing a special proposal for a virtual reality project named Arsalan. Looking through the papers, the developers are amazed by the solid world building that combines medieval and modern styles. Even though the manager worries that virtual reality is too unpopular, the young developer claims the game will sell out fast. Slamming his hand on the table, the confident boss declares that he is going to turn the entire world upside down. To show his amazing tech, the young boss asks for a large room and gets led to an empty motion capture studio. The gathered employees whisper among themselves, wondering if this rich kid is actually trying to scam them. After everyone gathers inside, the young developer calmly orders the team to turn off all the lights. Crouching down in the dark room, the boy places his mysterious magic cube directly on the floor. A massive surge of blue electricity suddenly erupts from the small device and shocks the entire audience. Real green grass and a glowing magic circle appear under their feet, leaving the old manager completely speechless. A giant red dragon suddenly roars above the screaming crowd, while the smiling developer explains it is just a hologram. The shocked manager learns that this spectacular virtual world is the actual setting of the new game called Arsalan. With a quick snap of his fingers, the clever president decides to finally show them the main action of the story. Suddenly, the bright green field turns dark as a giant eclipse appears in the sky to terrify the helpless employees. Creepy skeletons rise from the ground while an evil sorcerer commands his undead army to feast on the humans. The terrified staff members start running for their lives, while the boss jokingly says that this might not be a hologram. Just as the monsters get too close, the beautiful knight, Haina, leaps forward with her weapon ready to protect everyone. With one powerful slash of her spear, the brave warrior completely demolishes the skeleton army in a flash of light. The cute succubus plays her part as the holy saintess and casts a giant spell of light to protect the group. Seeing the glowing magic shield, the terrified employees are totally amazed and start cheering for their savior. Watching their emotional reactions, the young president smiles because his epic plan is working perfectly. Suddenly, the evil skeleton boss laughs and commands his massive army of minions to attack once again. Knowing they need more power, the saintess raises her hand and asks everyone to lend her their energy. The excited team members raise their hands together so they can help the holy warriors win the battle. With her golden sword fully charged, the brave knight charges forward to unleash a devastating final strike. With a mighty roar, the brave warrior charges forward and the excited employees instantly join her loud battle cry. She unleashes a massive strike of golden lightning which completely crushes the enemy commander who cannot believe his eyes. A blinding explosion of energy fills the area as the giant monster falls to the ground while screaming in agonizing defeat. The defeated creature begs his dark master for help, but the evil boss decides that useless underlings do not deserve to live. Purple flames instantly vaporize the monster, and the watching employees are terrified by how ruthless this dark villain is. Next, the Dark Overlord points directly at the helpless humans who begin to scream and run away in absolute panic. The terrifying illusion suddenly vanishes, and the stunned manager blinks in confusion inside the silent studio. The terrified employees slowly open their eyes on the floor as the lights click back on. The young developer asks with a big smile if they enjoyed his awesome concept video. Adjusting his glasses, the old manager admits he got way too excited during his first virtual experience. He warns the boss about keeping this tech a secret, but the confident boy wants to spread the word instead. After the leader asks if they are ready to join him, the entire staff instantly promises to follow his lead. He tells them to forget old rules because they are going to conquer the world with his special new engine. With a raised fist, the teenager shouts to make history while his new employees cheer with total excitement. Online rumors soon spread about the company making a revolutionary virtual reality game that is bigger than Bitcoin. While looking at the internet comments, the young master receives a phone call from his worried grandfather. The old man wants to send their legal team to deal with the online haters, but the boy says it is actually great publicity. After asking about the progress of the company, the grandpa learns that the first gaming prototype is already fully finished. Remembering that his project has a fishing feature, the teenager asks the elder, who instantly brags about catching giant sharks. Since the older man cannot go outside due to back pain, the developer tells him to stay home because he is coming over right now. Arriving at the family mansion that night, the hero hands over the special visor and tells him to lay back for a big surprise. Feeling the high-quality design, the proud grandpa smiles and tells the boy that he is ready to see his work. Putting on the headset, the grandfather gets pulled through a flash of bright blue light. Opening his eyes, the elderly man is stunned to find himself standing in the middle of a beautiful forest. The young developer suddenly steps forward to welcome him to the incredible virtual world of Arsalan. Showing him a mirror, the boy explains that this youthful character avatar is modeled after his relative at age 40. Feeling absolutely amazing without his usual back pain, the elder wonders how the teenager built such crazy technology. The clever protagonist makes up a convenient lie about designing the system during his long hospital coma. Grabbing his hand, the smiling teen tells him to follow along because they have one more fun activity to try. They soon arrive at a gorgeous blue lake, which looks like the perfect spot for their special gaming session. Jinwoo summons a high-tech fishing rod using his magic and explains that it is super easy to use. Holding the gear, the grandfather smiles because it feels exactly like the classic rods from his youth. Casting the line into the water, he instantly gets a massive bite that splashes water everywhere. The creature pulls back with insane power, so the old man has to flex his giant arm muscles to resist. With a mighty pull, he drags a massive blue fish straight out of the lake and onto the shore. The happy teenager starts clapping and praises his grandfather for making such an incredible catch. Looking at his strong hands, the elderly man is amazed to feel the youthful energy he lost long ago. Laughing with joy, the old man shouts that he has not felt this energetic in a very long time. Watching him smile, the young developer secretly plans to eventually bring more humans to protect his world. To celebrate the catch, the teenager opens the photo mode and his grandfather poses proudly on top of the giant fish. Later, they roast the monster fish over a campfire, and the elder is amazed that he can actually taste the delicious meal. Suddenly, footsteps echo in the dark woods as two local soldiers spot them and wonder who these strangers are. The boy claims the newcomers are just game characters, but the suspicious guards decide to arrest the two intruders. Before they can move, the young lord unleashes a terrifying aura and commands his loyal guards to leave immediately. The terrified soldiers run away in a panic while the confused relative assumes it was just a glitch in the code. Feeling highly impressed by the prototype, the happy elder promises to provide full financial support for the new game. Smiling at his success, the teenager realizes that his grandfather's financial backing will speed up the game development. Returning to reality, the old man complains about his aching body while his grandson tells him to keep the gaming device. Thanks to the absolute support of the wealthy chairman, the development of the virtual reality game progresses very quickly. The talented art team designs stunning characters, and the girls in the office instantly fall in love with a handsome prince. The employees tease the general manager because he spends every single night playing inside the virtual reality test room. Suddenly, the glass door slides open, and the young president walks into the office to greet his hard-working team. He announces that the connection device passed the stability test, which means the main production can finally begin. The young boss surprises everyone by announcing their participation in the massive event of Osung Electronics. Remembering all the painful criticism from the past, the manager excitedly shouts that they will conquer the global market. After hearing they will receive high-end prototype models, the excited employees begin chanting the young master name. Suddenly, the boy phone vibrates with a series of frantic messages from his grandfather, who is already on his way. The young president quickly tells everyone to go home for the day, so he can handle this urgent family emergency. A short time later, the spectacular event hall is filled with flashing cameras and excited visitors. Famous tech reviewers gossip about the company and claim they are doomed if this new virtual reality tech is a fake. The official tech presentation begins, and the announcer introduces a special guest to show off their new project. Walking onto the stage with total confidence, the young president immediately gets recognized by the excited crowd. He jokes about the funny internet rumors before promising that his brand new product will blow everyone away. With a simple hand gesture, a massive wave of water suddenly crashes over the shocked audience members. The clever developer explains how humanity has conquered the seas and crossed the most brutal deserts on Earth. He changes the scene to a freezing mountain, and the guests are shocked to actually feel the cold texture of the snow. The young boss continues his epic speech by talking about how humans managed to reach the moon and even Mars. Pointing to the sky, the developer mentions the physical limits of space travel before revealing his own solution. Suddenly, a massive flash of purple lightning erupts and teleports the entire audience directly under a blood-red moon. Floating mascot monsters suddenly pop out of thin air, which leaves the visiting crowd completely confused and amazed. With a confident smile, the young boss announces the start of his fully immersive virtual game named Arslan Saga. He displays a special magic device called the Soul Link, which is limited to only 2,500 units. Netizens immediately go wild online and claim the entire project is just a massive scam to trick gullible buyers. While reading the bad reviews, a user realizes that the expensive gear has actually sold out in just a few seconds. Tech reviewers on Earth are discussing the upcoming game, with some planning to switch their careers if the virtual world is real. 2 weeks quickly pass, and the legendary Archmage smiles as he waits in the forest for the heroes of Earth to finally arrive. Nearby, a local resident practices his lines to welcome the incoming players to his tavern. The strict elf director immediately interrupts the scene because his acting feels way too awkward. She even orders the poor man to eat 6 meals a day so he can get the perfect round belly for his new role. Next, the blacksmith practices pretending to break weapons on purpose to make the gamers completely addicted to upgrading. The crew discusses how this psychological trick will keep the players fully immersed in their virtual adventure. The young lord approaches and learns that the magic tower is currently ready to generate up to 10,000 bodies. While thinking about the mana stone shortage, the young leader decides to focus on the positive side of reclaiming the land. The cheerful vibe of the active players brings a brand new hope that breathes real life back into the dying world. The elf director mentions they still need an exceptionally handsome knight to play the critical role of Prince Leon. Finding a pretty boy warrior is very hard since most local soldiers are just rugged and battle-scarred veterans. The clever writer happily suggests creating a custom physical body for the young master to possess and play the part. Even though the protagonist finds her motives highly suspicious, the elf excitedly reveals that she already made the bodies. Entering the secret workshop, the group gets completely amazed by the massive collection of highly detailed doll bodies. The creepy developer even shows off a tiny doll of her master that she custom designed to snuggle tightly in her arms. Giggling with excitement, the elf tries to make the hero possess a cute doll, but he instantly refuses her suggestion. Pointing to a large throne, the creative writer announces that the perfect body for Prince Leon is finally complete. With a dramatic flourish, she pulls away the red cloth to reveal a glowing masterwork of divine beauty. Staring in absolute awe, the group is amazed by the incredibly strong physical frame made from rare dragon bones. Sweat drips down his face when he learns she used legendary dragon scales crafted by 12 dwarf artisans. Sitting down on the throne, the legendary wizard unleashes a massive surge of blue magic to test the soul connection. With a flash of magic, the protagonist slowly opens his bright blue eyes to confirm the soul connection is complete. Back in Seoul, a famous streamer named Habel prepares to stream the highly anticipated game to her 3 million fans. She tells her viewers that she bought the standard version and puts on her new headset to see if the project is real. The clock strikes exactly 10, and she immediately sits back in her gaming chair as the screen tells her to get ready. Pressing the login button, she is suddenly engulfed in a massive surge of blue light that takes her breath away. Inside the magical tower, the giant crystal surges with electricity as the team celebrates the arrival of their first player. Rubbing her eyes, the confused girl wakes up and finds herself floating inside a beautiful space surrounded by stars. Floating in space, the streamer enters the customizing room and chooses to make a very gorgeous elf avatar. Landing on the soft grass, the girl excitedly screams to her viewers that she actually became a beautiful elf. While the chat goes wild over her new look, she stares at the beautiful scenery and wonders where she should go. Suddenly, a towering knight appears behind her and points toward the nearby starting village named Advent. Her eyes widen in absolute shock as the handsome warrior introduces himself as Leon and offers to guide her. Entering the village, they see other excited players running around and praising the genius creator of the game. Many players are already exploring the town and discussing how incredibly realistic this new world feels. The excited streamer approaches a guard for directions while the poor soldier desperately tries to remember his script. When the guard dramatically asks for her name, she chooses Habule as her official player nickname. A system warning funny enough tells her that her curvy avatar body will actually reduce her agility stats. As she asks for a quest, the guard points toward a massive adventurer guild situated right in the middle of the village. Her streaming chat cannot stop talking about the handsome prince who left the moment they reached the town gates. Watching from high above, the young master is very pleased to see that his custom Dragonbone avatar is a massive success. Using his magical vision, the young wizard checks the unique soul traits of the players and notices most are rank D or E. Suddenly he discovers that the popular streamer has an incredibly rare rank, a trait called social evolution. This unique ability can help her easily make friends with monsters and even play a key role in saving the dying realm. Meanwhile, the excited girl enters a massive and gorgeous adventurer guild building to start her very first quest. Inside the lobby, the beautiful elf storyteller Tia greets her warmly while playing her new role as the official registrar. The streamer and her online viewers are completely amazed by how gorgeous and realistic the game characters look. After receiving some helpful advice, the excited player happily signs the registration document to join the guild. The beautiful elf receptionist hands over a special starter kit and even gives the happy streamer a gentle head pat. Watching from above, the young master is stunned when his elf assistant reveals her creepy desire to make the players suffer. Suddenly, a bizarre muscular player with pink pigtails arrives and shouts for food, which leaves the receptionist speechless. More chaotic players run around doing wild pranks to unlock silly titles, which quickly turns the guild hall into a total mess. Feeling completely defeated by the chaotic crowd, the poor elf collapses on the floor while questioning her life choices. Her exhaustion quickly turns into a terrifying rage as she vows to design brutal quests that will make them weep. Meanwhile, the real world is shocked to learn that the game is actual reality, and online haters begin posting apology videos. News programs cover the game worldwide because everyone realizes they must adapt to this change to survive. 1 week after the official launch, the young president arrives at the office and notices promotional trucks outside. The team happily reports a massive surge in demand as they prepare 50,000 more gaming devices for the players. Hearing this number, the protagonist smiles because 50,000 heroes are enough to start his next grand plan. The excited employees immediately ask about updating the story and releasing cool new merchandise of Prince Leon. Testing his custom warrior body in front of a mirror, the boy admits that his avatar is indeed ridiculously handsome. His peaceful moment is suddenly ruined when his high elf disciple walks inside the room to tease him about his dramatic acting. The creative writer elf also joins in to add even more tragedy to his grand performance. Jinwoo stops acting like a handsome prince and asks his companion if there are any good hunting grounds nearby. Since there are no good spots near the village, the young master walks directly into the dangerous erosion zone. Under a creepy blood-red moon, the powerful wizard effortlessly blasts away the annoying waves of dark corruption. Demanding a proper greeting, the hero uses a special doorbell spell to launch a massive explosion at the enemy hideout. A giant purple monster with multiple red eyes and sharp teeth slowly emerges to mock the brave magic user. The terrifying Lord of Erosion boasts about how he easily turned the strongest holy knights into his mindless slaves. The giant creature tells him to accept defeat while the boy remembers his long, lonely battle before dying in his past. Looking at the massive boss, the young wizard smiles and admits that he actually feels sorry for the monster. He points out that the creature is stuck in one place, which makes the giant overlord scream in absolute rage. Looking around the area, the teenage hero quickly spots a giant valley filled with level 10 corrupted goblins. The enemy claims defeating them is useless since they regenerate, but the clever boy simply raises his magic staff. A brilliant blue magic circle expands across the entire battlefield as the transcendent Archmage gathers his power. With a quick snap of his fingers, his blue lightning completely wraps around the unlucky monsters. The giant boss demands to know what he is planning while the developer waves goodbye with his new goblin captives. The young developer happily tells the giant monster that it is now the official mid-boss of his first game chapter. He decides to pay back his debt by flashing a very rude gesture, which leaves the beast completely stunned. The giant overlord screams in absolute rage as the cheeky teenager teleports away in a massive flash of blue light. Meanwhile, 3 active players begin their brand new quest to hunt down some local goblins for valuable loot. While walking through the forest, a strange purple fog suddenly rolls in and turns the bright sky pitch black. A pack of creepy purple monsters steps out from the darkness while screeching loudly to intimidate the group. Instead of running away, the brave gamers get extremely excited, because they think these are just high-level elite targets. A cocky warrior boasts about defeating the goblins in 3 moves before a purple monster leaps directly at his face. His eyes widen in shock as the beast moves with extreme speed to dodge his attack. After his teammate gets smashed into the dirt, the red-haired wizard quickly casts a giant fireball to retaliate. A massive explosion of fire fills the forest while the proud boy hopes that his attack was enough to defeat them. Suddenly, a monster charges through the smoke and tackles the wizard while his stream chat calls him a total noob. Left all alone, the terrified female archer realizes these creepy goblins are way too strong for them to handle. Screaming in absolute terror, she watches another monster lunge forward right before a bright light flashes. Suddenly, a brave knight dashes forward and slices the attacking monster right in half with a powerful golden strike. Looking up, the shocked girl is completely amazed to see the handsome Prince Leon smiling warmly right down at her. Just like a complex luxury watch, his new avatar was meticulously designed to function with absolute perfection. The custom body boasts over 20 layers of high-tier magic along with dozens of passive beauty spells to impress players. The streamer gets so mesmerized by his radiant aura that she starts drooling before her viewers quickly tease her. The handsome prince asks if she is hurt and decides to use a special golden magic spell to heal her just in case. A warm light wraps around her, and she is shocked to feel a massive surge of pure energy flowing through her body. A viewer suddenly donates 100,000 won, and the excited girl immediately performs a cute wink to celebrate. The handsome prince watches her strange behavior and worries that she has a serious head injury that needs magic healing. Another donor offers 200,000 won for a cute rabbit dance, but the embarrassed girl refuses to do it. Watching the livestream, the clever developer decides to play along by sending a massive 5 million won donation. Overcome by the massive amount of money, the young streamer immediately starts hopping around like a cute little rabbit. She hides her face in absolute shame while the young lord finally realizes the terrifying power of modern capitalism. The noble warrior insists on taking her to a temple to get her head treated, which only makes her cry even louder. This hilarious clip soon gets millions of views online while the two companions continue exploring the beautiful forest. Gently guiding her to safety, the handsome prince makes her blush, while the stream chat goes completely wild. The young lady bows to thank her savior and introduces herself before he shares his own traveler identity. Pointing out the nearby danger, the warrior explains how the dark erosion corrupts all the local creatures. His eyes glow with blue magic to analyze her hidden stats and confirm her rare rank A affinity. Reaching out a hand, the noble savior triggers a massive main quest that requires over 200 players. Looking at the giant notification, the streamer gets incredibly excited about the first server event. The girl suddenly worries that gathering so many busy players might be way too difficult in a new world. Clenching her fist, she vows to complete the tough mission simply because she wants to impress the prince. The excited streamer shakes his hand and eagerly promises to do her absolute best for the quest. Moving quickly across the land, the handsome prince helps other players fight off packs of dangerous wolves. He also praises a hardworking player for gathering herbs, which makes her feel incredibly happy. The kind hero even hands out free potions to the players while flashing a warm smile to win their hearts. Heartwarming stories about the noble prince quickly spread online and inspire a quiet girl to step out of her room. Tears fall as she hugs her mom before returning to the game to help other players as a true warrior. Watching the positive online feedback, the young developer smiles because the community is getting highly motivated. Deciding to speed up his plans, the legendary Archmage holds his staff and prepares for his next grand move. Walking into the main control room of the magic tower, the young master gets welcomed by his loyal assistant. After confirming that the control device is perfectly connected, the young master checks the status of the erosion core. To make the human players team up faster, he decides to spawn more monsters and asks his assistant to summon the key helpers. With a mischievous smile, the young developer reveals that his helpers will have to play the role of the enemy goblins. When the eager followers get way too close to his face, the annoyed leader tells them to sit down and wait for the others. While preparing to speak, the teenager screams in terror as the writer elf suddenly appears right next to his shoulder. Annoyed by everyone invading his space, the boy watches the exhausted girl collapse on the sofa and wonders what went wrong. The exhausted writer angrily complains about the chaotic players who keep pulling ridiculous pranks all day long. The other two loyal helpers look completely traumatized because the annoying visitors keep acting like they know everything. Seeing his entire team covered in a dark aura of exhaustion, the young developer realizes everyone is reaching their limit. To solve this issue, the clever boy pulls out a modern gaming controller and explains his next brilliant plan. The blonde assistant cries in absolute horror when she learns they must control ugly goblins to attack the newcomers. The young master reassures her by explaining that the immortal humans actually need to get defeated to gain experience. Hearing this, the girl instantly gets a creepy smile and eagerly prepares to use the device to crush her targets. Jinwoo explains the simple controls of the device and opens up a screen so the nervous elf can try it. A purple goblin instantly runs across the screen as the girl promises to give the players some tough motivation. The other allies quickly get jealous and brag about their strategic skills, so they can also get a turn to play. Soon the whole team is happily playing together while laughing at the ugly monsters on the screen. Smiling at the fun scene, the young developer takes a quick photo and sets it as his new lock screen wallpaper. Back in his Earth body, the young boss smiles while planning to reveal the first official chapter of the main story. Sitting at the dinner table, he decides to time the second round of device sales with the defeat of the goblin boss. The grandfather suddenly slams his spoon down and rushes out of the room, which leaves the young man completely confused. Back in the game world, the human players excitedly gather to start a massive raid against the dangerous goblin army. Returning to his fantasy realm, the teenage lord looks at the chaotic crowd and wonders what is going on. Out in the woods, a powerful purple monster suddenly leaps forward and casts a giant spell of fire at the warriors. The players get completely overwhelmed as the smart creatures begin executing highly advanced battle tactics. Inside the tower, his beautiful elf disciple laughs maniacally while holding a modern gaming controller. The young master sighs when he catches his top helpers, celebrating their successful teamwork against the humans. The young wizard notices that his helpers look completely exhausted after playing the game non-stop. Looking at their creepy smiles, the boy realizes they are actually tormenting the players instead of helping. The elf storyteller laughs hysterically while her controlled goblin receives a special hero slayer title. Seeing the pile of defeated players, the clever leader decides it is finally time to try a special tactic. Out on the battlefield, the controlled monster approaches a fallen player and begins to step directly on him. The surrounding warriors watch in absolute shock as the enemy begins doing squats on top of their teammate. The crazy girl continues to laugh, and the young boss wonders where on earth his allies learned such toxic moves. Despite all the chaos, the developer smiles because this wild experience is the perfect motivation for everyone. The new virtual game spreads incredibly fast and gathers a massive crowd of players in the town square. Watching the bustling village, the handsome Prince Leon smiles and prepares to lead his brand new expedition. Meanwhile, a brave warrior named Uragam visits the local blacksmith to upgrade his favorite shield. The blacksmith swings his mighty hammer, causing a bright golden light to erupt before a giant explosion. A notification reveals the upgrade failed, and the crying warrior holds his head after losing his precious level 4 stats. The elf streamer Habial approaches and calls him a dopamine addict for taking a risky 5% chance. The blacksmith mocks the warrior for having weak guts, while the desperate player bets his entire fortune on another try. While the player prepares for his risky gamble, the handsome Prince Leon suddenly walks over to greet the streamer. The noble warrior explains that he wanted to check on the village and find ways to assist the heroes before the big raid. Suddenly, the frantic warrior interrupts their conversation and begs the young prince for some urgent help. The streamer explains that this desperate team member is actually a massive dopamine addict who loves upgrading gear. The crazy player asks the handsome prince to stand nearby as a lucky charm, while he starts the risky enhancement process. Giving a confident nod, the legendary master watches as the burly blacksmith raises his massive hammer to strike. A giant explosion of golden light erupts from the table as the entire group watches the results with high anticipation. The gamble pays off with a perfect +5 success, causing the ecstatic warrior to bow and thank his lucky charm. The proud shield owner teases the streamer, whose viewers immediately set a huge cash goal for her own upgrade. Desperate for luck, the elf begs the prince to pat her bow right before the blacksmith strikes the weapon with his hammer. Bright light reveals another maximum success, which makes the girl scream with joy as other players line up for their turn. A massive crowd begs the hero to bless their gear, and he happily agrees while the poor blacksmith starts to panic. Leaving the helper to his fate, the developer watches as a non-stop wave of successful weapon upgrades fills the screen. Hours of intense hammering leave the poor craftsman completely burned out and resting silently in his dark workshop. Walking outside, the first warrior complains because his rare achievement is now completely worthless. An annoying bard suddenly approaches the group to sing a terrible song to celebrate their successful upgrades. His screeching music is so incredibly bad that even the local goblins run away in absolute terror to save their ears. Watching the noisy performer, the young lord realizes why his elf assistant has been ignoring his calls lately. Analyzing the unique rainbow soul of the bard, the wizard recognizes his passionate buddy from his past life on Earth. The streamer asks if he is okay, but the young master quickly hides his shock and claims everything is perfectly fine. Suddenly, two powerful guild masters start a massive argument in the middle of the street over who will take the lead. The level 11 warrior and level 12 hunter glare at each other with intense rage while preparing to draw their weapons. The handsome prince steps in to stop the fight and quickly realizes that these two loud leaders also look very familiar to him. The young developer gets shocked to see his sister, who is transformed into a wild barbarian warrior inside the game. He wonders how she and his grandfather already gained enough contribution points to form two massive guilds. Stepping into the town square, the young master is greeted by a massive crowd of players gathered for the big raid. The excited streamer is deeply touched and thanks everyone for answering her call to join the fight. Many chaotic players with extremely weird usernames start celebrating as they prepare to head out. The handsome prince gives an inspiring speech to the crowd, who immediately cheers with total excitement. With a confident smile, the legendary hero signals the start of their journey toward the exit gates. The brave knight commander Hina stands ready and commands her troops to prepare for the upcoming battle. Hina commands a loud salute as the large army of players finally marches out of the gates. Moving down the steps, the players get amazed by the sunset, while one warrior talks about having a nice drink. The energetic bard immediately gets inspired to write a song while his companion begs him to stop his weird music. Watching them laugh, the young master smiles because their casual attitude will help them grow into independent heroes. Back in the control room, the helpers cheer while playing with controllers to make the upcoming battle extremely exciting. With everything ready, the handsome prince secretly commands his tower to activate a dark and spooky preset on the field. Thick blue mist suddenly rolls into the forest and leaves the players completely amazed by the realistic game effects. Standing in the dark forest, the handsome prince realizes that the dark erosion has somehow reached inside the safe zone. Creepy purple tentacles suddenly burst from the ground and attack the shocked group before the hero blocks them with his sword. Total chaos erupts as the terrified players scream and run in absolute panic from the giant swarming tendrils. Jumping into action, the brave warrior unleashes a massive surge of golden lightning to instantly vaporize the dark enemies. The kind leader quickly checks on the safe players, who immediately express their deep gratitude for saving their lives. One of the guild members tells everyone to look up because something feels extremely wrong with the environment. Looking up at the sky, the group freezes in shock when a giant black sun appears while creepy drums echo in the distance. Screeching goblin armies emerge under the dark sky while the terrified players look at the absolute chaos. Realizing the massive scale of the attack, the handsome prince warns everyone that they walked right into a deadly trap. The young leader suspects a traitor must have leaked their plans because the enemy knew their exact departure time. Behind the scenes, the writer elf laughs as she controls an elite goblin commander to wipe out the terrified players. Feeling responsible for the danger, the brave warrior decides to use his remaining magic to teleport them back to safety. Magic circles glow under the players as a system alert warns them about the massive penalty for dying in the darkness. The worried crowd asks what will happen to him, but the young master simply looks back with a tragic and peaceful smile. Tears fill the eyes of the young streamer as she refuses to run away and vows to stay and fight beside her beloved hero. Excited players scream with joy and talk about cooking the incoming goblins for a delicious dinner. The handsome prince asks if everyone is truly ready to fight, and the determined elf streamer instantly agrees with him. Raising his glowing sword, the leader grants the brave warriors a powerful magic boost that fills them with insane energy. With a loud battle cry, the prince points his weapon forward as the players charge directly into the chaotic battlefield. Back in the control room, the helpers ask if the players could have escaped, but the elf reveals they are trapped in the game. The writer elf smiles because she is deeply touched by how hard the human heroes are fighting to protect their world. Feeling highly motivated, the beautiful girl decides that she must also do something special to help them win the battle. The crazy writer elf presses her controller button super fast to make the goblin army charge even harder. Led by their shield units, the brave players charge forward and use their newly upgraded gear to bash the enemies. The vicious monsters strike back with insane power and force the human defense line to hold on for dear life. Several players get pushed back by the heavy attacks as the chaotic battlefield turns into a massive struggle. Working together, a nimble warrior uses the massive shield of his companion as a platform to launch himself high. Soaring through the air, the brave attacker raises his glowing sword to deliver a devastating blow from above. A massive beam of energy crashes down and completely vaporizes the surrounding goblins in a giant explosion. A massive explosion clears the area and leaves several defeated goblins lying smoked on the ground. Holding his glowing sword, the handsome prince declares that he will protect the heroes at all costs. The fiery barbarian guild leader gets super hyped by his moves and commands her entire squad to charge forward. Leaping into the fray, the wild warrior swings her massive axe to demolish the monsters with pure strength. When an enemy tries to sneak up on her, a friendly arrow suddenly takes down the beast in the nick of time. The two companions celebrate their successful teamwork with a high five in the middle of the chaotic battle. Suddenly, the commander of the ranged unit screams to prepare the backline for a massive volley of attacks. Unleashing a massive volley of arrows, the archers fire together, while the stream chat begins teasing the cute girl. Multiple magic spells fly through the air and create massive explosions that blast the enemy goblin forces. Despite their successful attacks, the worried mages realize that their mana is running out much too quickly. Deeply inspired by the fierce action, the passionate bard decides to play an energetic song to support his team. A strange magical aura surges around the singer, which allows the tired magic users to quickly recharge their mana. Feeling much more confident, the brave human warriors push forward and easily dominate the battlefield. Suddenly, a massive shockwave blows everyone back when the terrifying elite goblin slayer slams directly into the ground. The elite goblin's devastating slam blows everyone away and leaves players lying helpless on the ground. The monsters start coming back to life and quickly reduce the number of surviving players. The handsome prince steps forward to challenge the screeching boss all by himself. He unleashes a series of powerful attacks to clash directly against the dark creature. A final strike of glowing golden energy completely destroys the terrifying enemy leader. The watching players cheer loudly after seeing their amazing leader win the tough battle. Suddenly, a wave of dark purple spikes rains down to pierce the fallen boss. A terrifying aura rises as a new enemy appears and leaves the entire group completely frozen in shock. Creepy laughter echoes as the newly appeared goblin leader raises his weapon with a wicked grin. Looking at a giant black pillar in the distance, the worried players ask the young prince what is happening. After learning that a hidden red core powers the massive column, the brave team vows to destroy it immediately. With a loud shout, the players charge forward to clash against another wave of screeching monsters. Unleashing his incredible golden lightning, the handsome warrior dives straight down to clear a path. The noble leader yells for his companions to run ahead before the enemies can block them again. Pulling her bowstring, the elf streamer shoots down the leaping monsters with impressive precision. Suddenly, another beast ambushes the girl from behind, but the brave prince immediately steps in to shield her. Gritting his teeth, the handsome prince blocks the deadly strike and takes heavy damage before telling the girl to run. The remaining players decide to sacrifice themselves using desperate mana explosions to buy some valuable time. Running through the chaos, the young streamer gets terrified when she sees an endless wave of fresh goblin forces. Determined to pave away, her companions tell her to keep moving while she prepares a powerful magic arrow. Drawing her glowing bow, she unleashes a massive spirit arrow that completely decimates the nearby enemies. Smiling at her success, the brave girl tells everyone that their final goal is to destroy the hidden red core. Suddenly, another group of screeching monsters leaps out from the shadows to surprise her once again. The status screen reveals that only 2 players are left alive as they prepare for a final desperate push. Gathering all their strength, the 2 survivors leap forward together and unleash a massive strike on the red core. The fragile crystal shatters into a million pieces, which makes the exhausted warriors celebrate their hard victory. Their joy quickly turns to pure horror when a creepy skeletal hand rises from the green flames and catches them off guard. A terrifying lich with glowing red eyes emerges from the darkness to announce that their true nightmare is just beginning.